Madam Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, you have to understand that if the previous speaker characterizes and concedes that this is all about marketing and media and it's just a spectacular, sensationalized fight and it's not that important, then it takes away all of the harms that they accuse our side of. Because you have to understand that if that were true, meaning people don't take it as seriously as it is, then what's the harm to be able to do it? Because I agree, right? Regardless of you being good or not in your past, regardless of you being rich or not, the interest of any individual, especially a retired professional boxer at that, is to be able to get some more money to be able to make sure that you have enough to be able to take care of yourself and your legacy, etc. But also be able to still be relevant to the game, to be able to do great things and influence the world in a positive way. My extension is very simple. Responses will be integrated. My extension is to answer a couple of very important questions. Number one, what is the interest of an average professional boxer? Number two, regardless of what happens, why it's in your interest to be able to agree and take the fight, because we recognize that we can't tell the future. We can't automatically correlate and say, oh no, whatever happened with Jake Paul and like Mike Tyson is gonna happen again, blah, blah, blah. But we think that even if that does happen, it's completely fine. And thirdly, I'm going to respond to a lot of the harms that they push us and tell you that it's not that bad. Not in a dismissive way, but in a structural, reasonably and sounding way. Before that, a couple of responses to opening opposition. The first is they say finances don't matter. That does not respond to what Miguel gave you in his PM speech, wherein we talked about many scenarios. A, if you're rich, you can get even more money to be able to help improve the quality of your life and be able to have a longer runway for your posterity and your legacy. Rich people often want even more money, and I don't think that's a bad thing. You're entitled to do that. Capitalism is good. B, if you're mid, then okay, any amount of money, whether you lose or you win, is gonna be able to help your bank account and boost you above mid status. Take a look at what happened with the contract with Tyson and Jake Paul. Tyson lost, he got $20 million. Jake Paul had won, he got $40 million. So either what happens, you're gonna be able to make more money. C is if you lose, or if you're, sorry, C is that if you're poor, then win or lose, it's gonna be able to help you. Regardless of who you are, finances do matter because money is important and it's good. The second thing is the pushback they had about Jake Paul trolls are gonna wreck you. We think that you as a professional boxer want to be able to heed to your own fans. Like, you don't really care about the haters and naysayers coming from there. But even if they came from your camp and they're saying, hey bro, it undermines your legacy, you're making a shit show out of yourself, you're embarrassing yourself. The simple intuition pump is, bruh, are you gonna pay me? Give me the millions of bucks to be able to make my life better. All of this is just bullshit people say and trolls on the internet saying stuff. People who are of that status, who are confident in themselves, or who already are enough with their lived experience to be able to do all that shit probably don't care. Thirdly is that they talked about how it's particularly gonna be difficult for you to be able to like get a job and stuff. But we think that's exactly the point, right? Meaning if you're a retired professional boxer, especially in boxing, your career path is very dependent on being a coach or a manager, which is largely very limited. Meaning even if you get actualization there, just like in any sport, there's nothing that fills the adrenaline or fulfills you than being able to compete and fight at the ring in a very high level. Even if this is like a troll kind of fun match, then that's like a fun way to be able to still get back in the game. That's an important nuance that opening missed, right? We have to understand that regardless of you being rich or good or not, you for sure have that fighting spirit inside you that pushes you to want to be able to compete. And this becomes a golden nugget opportunity to not just get a lot of money, but also be able to bring back that particular fire. Because let's face it, right? You're a professional boxer. You're used to getting hurt. You're used to losing. You're used to people saying all sorts of things. even at an old age where you probably had a lot of contemplative time to be able to think about it and mature even more as a person, it's even in your interest to be able to throw back and do what you did best. Fourth is that a really round winning characterization coming from my speech is that, dude, Jake Paul kind of fucking sucks, right? And you might ask the question, Joseph, then if he sucks, then why did like Tyson like lose and all that stuff, right? It's because it's probably like paid and stuff. I don't know, man. Like if you could take a look at his fighting style, etc., he was holding back on punches and like his fighting style was different, or maybe he's just getting old. So even if you lose, which is like the biggest harm that they try to say on us, you don't really care anymore because you already have a legacy that you had before, whether that be a mid legacy, whether that be a good legacy, or even a bad legacy. If you're already a bad fighter, as Miguel talked to you about, no one really cares, man. It's not like it's gonna get even worse. So ultimately, why does this align with the interest of the boxer? Three reasons. One, the financial incentives I spent a lot of my time talking about. Number two, the capacity to be able to assert relevance in the landscape. Because if you are not as known as you are, and taking the average of cases here so that we're not debating on extreme sides of the spectrum, there's gonna be some sort of relevance to your name. Oh, this mid-professional boxer guy, he's fighting who? Paul. And that puts you on the map automatically. That gives you a lot more opportunity to be able to do cool stuff, such as being able to get sponsorships, maybe even some opportunities to mentor and coach. It brings you back to the limelight that you otherwise might not have been, or even if you were already, allows you to bask in that even more. It's warm where it's successful. The next one is on the idea that it really allows you to be able to actualize yourself, meaning again, regardless of being financially rewarded or not, regardless of being injured or not, regardless of winning or not, for sure you still have that fighter inside you that longs to be able to go back in the cage, to go back in the arena. So, because we can't tell the future, regardless of what happens, we think it's in your interest to be able to say yes to this challenge. It's scary, it's challenging, you might embarrass yourself. That's where growth happens, that's where the money's made. We are very proud to stand on side government.